and welcome back to a round number one here of Modern Mondays. This is Portland Paper. I'm Travis Cooper. I'm hanging out with,
Curran Delahanty.
and we're watching some Modern Magic the Gathering. The players have already started to kick it off, so we have a matchup of.
Crashing Footfalls versus Crashing Footfalls. That is the premier matchup of round one here. Two of the best decks in the or like one of the best decks in the format, in my opinion, I believe. Curious to see how the mirror will work out here.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I have not played a lot. I've played a little bit of Footfalls. I haven't seen the mirror a ton. I imagine it's just probably who makes the most rhinos. Brazen Borrowers seem really good in the matchup as well. So yeah, let's kind of see how this plays out. Vinny opened it up with a suspend on Crashing Footfalls.
Yeah, it looks like they're ahead here as far as Rhino spells go. I had the pleasure of playing this deck last week. My build ran 3 copies of Archmage's Charm, which would be absolutely insane in the mirror because you can take over your opponent's Rhinos for 3 mana at instant speed. So I'm curious if either player is playing any copies of Archmage's Charm in their builds today.
So I know Vinny is on Charms and Cryptic Commands is in their build. I don't know what Andre is um, playing on their build.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what Andre has to bring, but if that's the case, I think Vinny is looking pretty hot here with the Archmage's Charms in their build.
So yeah, with the suspend on the Crashing Footfalls, you're sort of forcing Andre to have some kind of answer to that on your turn. So then you can even if Andre's gonna cast Force of Negation for the mana cost, you can cast your own Force of Negation for mana cost. You're gonna force Andre to 2-for-1 himself with another force if it's even there. Or we're gonna have a Rhino off at some point.
Yeah, Vinny could have Cryptic Command too in that fight as well, which would be pretty brutal as well.
Yeah, bounce effects are going to be at a premium in this matchup. All right, we have
An ice cast at the Triome.
well, speaking of bounce effects, it looks like Vinny drew the Brazen Borrower off the ice, and now Footfalls is coming off a suspend.
Here we go, the first counter war of the game. Here comes that hard cast Force of Negation on Andre's end. Let's see how Vinny responds here. Ooh. We are going to see the Cryptic.
All right, I bet the modes are counter draw. And it looks like Vinny picked up a Violent Outburst as well. So I feel like an important part of this matchup is going to be who has cooler tokens.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty important. These
So,
Batman tokens have really taken a strong lead here, I feel. Curious to see how Andre will respond getting their own tokens out. Okay, we're going to see a hard cast copy of Fury Deal with one of the 4/4 Rhinos. Ooh, and there's an Archmage's Charm that Vinny just ripped off the top there. That's pretty... It's pretty cash, I think.
oh, we're having a minor issue here with a cable.
Uh-oh.
Hold on 1 second. We'll see what we can do about that. Go ahead. No, you're good. Curran, you can just keep talking.
Okay. Well, Vinny's sending in the 4/4. It's getting blocked by Fury, so the board's clean up here. Andre's still tapped out, so this is an opportunity for Vinny to follow up. And it looks like they will with Shardless Agent in main phase 2. Cascading through the deck, it looks like it just straight up resolved because Andre was tapped out. And here's the Footfalls. We'll see if there's a force of negation on Andre's side to deal with it. And the Footfalls resolves. 2/4/4 is back in play. Batman cannot be killed. Alright, and Andre looking at hand now, just deciding what to do here, how to best respond to the pressure in front of them. Alright, another Fury comes down on the hard cast, killing one of the Rhinos, leaving a Rhino and Shardless Agent in play. So it looks like we have another way to kill the Rhino should Vinny just send it in. Okay, offering up the trade, it would appear. Andre's just going to take it, though.
I mean, 6 a turn is a little bit quicker than 4 a turn, but...
Sure. Okay, and Andre's just playing a land and passing the turn. I do see a Borrower in Andre's hand, so curious as to when they plan on deploying that.
Looks like there might be a couple Fire Ices in Andre's hand as well, so...
And
looks like a Dead Gone.
And a Dead Gone,
2
yeah.
Fire and Ices, so Andre
lot of
playing a lot of split
answers.
cards.
So Vinny flashed in a Brazen Borrower there end of turn just to kind of up the clock here a bit on their end, and now are deciding to send the Rhino and the Borrower into combat. Fury's taking the block this time. Alright, so a Fire Ice came down, got countered by Archmage's Charm, another Fire Ice targeting Brazen Borrower, and that deals with the blockers. Also, I imagine they did 1 damage to the Rhino, and that's why the Fury is still alive, because it's a 3/3 double striker. So Andre's got a lot of lands here, and Vinny hasn't made it past 4 land drops, but I mean, that means Vinny's just got a ton more action in hand, right? Like, pretty well set up, where Andre has pretty limited resources, most of it being removal.
And Fury's going to come in, so...
That's something.
definitely have to deal with that. Like...
I guess, yeah, Charlotte's just going to jump in front here, protect Vinny's life total for the turn, and see what happens next here. Wow, Vinny rips a Fury of their own.
Looks like Vinny's sitting on
Wow.
2 Violent Outburst, a Fury, a Force of Negation.
I think 2 Force of Negations. That's insane. I think an Archmage's Charm... Yeah. I mean, Vinny's hand is straight up gas.
Well, you can't steal a Fury with an Archmage's Charm.
Sad.
It looks like Andre is flooding out a bit here. So Vinny's sitting on just a bunch of Cascade spells.
Yep, and here comes the end of turn Violent Outburst, so it can be protected by the Force of Negation. Hitting the Rhinos.
Michael Keaton's back again.
for their third movie. Oh no! All right, one of them's gonna get goned here, potentially. So Gone is the second half of Dead Gone, which just returns target creature to its owner's hand. So one of the rhinos gets bounced. Bounced in red.
Yeah, I know that it does seem like a very off flavor thing for red to do. I'm used to like I would think that split card would maybe be like blue and red, but just yeah, a bounce effect in mono red, not super common. Doesn't really feel part of the color pie. All right, just one of these rhinos coming in.
It's really tight race on life totals here. Here comes a Fury, though, pitching a Dead and Gone of Vinny's own. Coming down to try to deal with the Fury on the table.
Yeah, bouncing the Fury doesn't seem like the thing to do in this situation. And I think Andre was contemplating using the Brazen Borrower, but the Brazen Borrower can actually only bounce your opponent's permanents. It can't bounce your own, which is something that doesn't come up often, but yeah, is a significant restriction to that effect.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that until I started playing Mono Blue Snow Spirits and Pioneer and couldn't bounce my own creature to save it. Brazen Borrower is pretty specific for that, but also Andre's got a Prismari command here. Main board, like it. I don't remember the full text on Prismari command.
So it's you can do two of the things. You can make a treasure, you can blow up an artifact, you can deal 2 damage to something, or you can draw 2, discard 2.
Okay. Oh, but it's going to mute Force of Negation. So the Fury's going to get the Fury, and the Rhino stays on the table alone for now.
Yeah, this kind of feels like a battle of attrition here in this mirror, where you just have to draw more relevant cards. The counters matter for sure, but the bounce effects, plus the one staple to a permanent like Brazen Borrower, I think is person who draws more of those is probably going to win.
Yeah. Andre left with one fresh card in hand here. Oh, it's a land, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is
Wooded Foothills.
Oh, wow.
And Odawara, a nice pickup for Vinny. A way to bounce a Rhino without being able to interact with that. And it looks like Vinny thought about playing it as land for turn, but realized it was a valuable card to hold on to.
All right, and Brazen Borrower's going to eat the dead, which is just 2 damage.
It's another. Is that a Fury? That let's see.
Yeah, it looks like a Fury was drawn on Andre's side. Really good at drawing Fury this matchup.
A pretty strong card. I mean, can't be Force of Negation. Can deal with both halves of the Rhinos if doesn't itself die. But looks like Vinny is going to be able to cascade again on instep, and Andre isn't going to have an answer for that.
Yep, that's 8 damage, 1 more than lethal. So, congratulations, Vinny, on not drawing too many lands and drawing the exact amount of lands needed and having all the action.
All right, so players are going to sideboard. It's going to be a tough one. Blood Moon effects aren't great, so if those are in any player's main deck, they come out. I know they're not in Vinny's main deck because when you play the charms and the cryptics, you're not really playing Blood Moons. It looks like Vinny's bringing in just Mystical Dispute as a disallow effect, or cancel, I guess, which, that's fine. I think I do kind of like boarding in an endurance, or 1 to 3 endurances. Flash threats are great. It has reach to block a Brazen Borrower, because the evasion and flying can be really relevant if you're racing. And then also, if you're both just casting a million footfalls and blocking and getting your tokens bounced, being able to recycle your footfalls back into the deck for more cascade seems relevant.
Yeah, and also I saw Vinny reach for subtlety, which seems like a pretty much a no-brainer. I think if you're playing the subtleties in the sideboard for more bounce effects, as far as getting rid of your opponent's threats. So
And Violent Outburst as a combat trick, relevant in this matchup.
yeah, super relevant. Absolutely.
Looks like chat was pointing out that Dead Gone was in Planar Chaos, which was one of those color shifted sets.
That's why red got a bounce spell. Wasn't around for Planar Chaos personally, but good to know.
Yeah, I was out of Magic. I played before that. I played like from uh, third edition in the beginning of Revised through like Mask and Saga and stuff, but then I think I quit around like Onslaught. And then I came back and returned to Ravnica.
Nice. Wow, that's a long break. Wow.
It's a big chunk of missets there.
Yeah, I started up Mirrodin Besiege was my first pre-release, and I've been playing ever since. So it's been quite a ride. All right, players are boarded, and we're shuffling up for game 2 here. I imagine Andre will be on the play.
I bet I could see players maybe boarding out Fire Ice too. That seems kind of medium bad in the mirror. You're not really trying to be. It's not going to be who slams Rhino first is going to win. I feel like you're going to need to have a lot of interactive cards.
Yeah, Fire Ice seems like it's only really effective in taking out the Brazen Borrower part of the game, like those kinds of threats, but that's pretty narrow, I mean, compared to the cards that can be brought in and the more relevant cards in the matchup. Andre gets to spend turn 1 suspending. All right, suspension mirror. They both did it off a breeding pool, but Vinny gets to spare a life because they didn't have to fetch for it.
Yeah, usually like suspend Rhinos turn 1 is like a little meh, but in the mirror that seems like a great way to start.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Another footfalls right off the top for Andre here. That's look at that. Stacking pressure. Andre didn't move those suspend counters yet, but I'm sure they will. It's just out of order sequencing. If they don't, I will make sure to run out there and remind them. But it hasn't quite happened yet.
Yeah, it's suspend not an optional counter.
Yeah, okay. Vinny just pointed
Yeah.
at it, so we should be fine. Main phase, Violent Outburst. Here we go. There's the footfalls.
No real surprise there.
So Vinny just let it resolve, which is a little bit surprising, but that probably means the answers in their hand are more bounce related versus counter related.
Right, I bet this is going to be a Brazen Borrower.
One
goes.
down.
I mean, it feels like it should be up if you're bouncing something, right?
But it's a token, so it doesn't go all the way
Oh.
up. I don't know. Because tokens just disappear in my mind after a removal spell. I don't know.
Chat's commenting that'd be funny if there's a Rhino Lord that they played for the mirror. I guess that's Violent Outburst. Violent Outburst is a pseudo Rhino. It's a temporary Rhino Lord.
But I wish it protected from Fury. That would be insane. All right, here comes Shardless Agent. Cascade triggers. Let's go. Let's get some rhinos on the table on Vinny's side.
Our oldest member of our subscriber team is in chat right now.
Oh, yeah?
And they're asking if engineered explosives is in Rhino's sideboard. And the answer to that question is no, because it's a cascade deck. But I've seen players make that mistake before. And we've seen some spell pierces in the sideboard. I've seen some engineered explosives. And I feel like it's easy to make that mistake because you're like, man, this card seems really good in this deck. I wonder why people don't play it on the sideboard. I'll try it as one of, but yeah, you can cascade into it.
Yeah, I think Mystical Dispute just overperforms in the sideboard for this deck because it gets to be like Spell Pierce without actually having the CMC of Spell Pierce. Or, I guess Mana Leak technically, but being 1 mana and all.
I have seen it, not recently, but when there's a lot of mill going around, there's a, I can't name the card off the top, but it's another suspend card, but it's blue, but you get to look through someone else's deck and put a creature into play. And that was like when you're playing against Eldrazi's and things like that.
Oh, and for the show's recording purposes, let the show that Dead Rift did figure it out before we mentioned it. So the whole engineered explosives thing.
All right, we got some rhinos. We got some life total changes. We got a Mystical Dispute on a bounce.
Oh, wow.
Petty Theft is disputed.
All right.
And pass back to Andre.
Here comes the first rhino that was suspended on turn 1. It's going to resolve. A couple more rhinos hit the table.
Looks like Vinny's sitting on another Violent Outburst, and it looks like a Fire Ice as well.
Interesting. I wonder if we'll see that played in combat here. Oh, no. Those don't have haste. Yeah. Okay. Suspend creatures have haste, but not tokens that are generated by spells with suspend. Inevitable Betrayal. I don't recognize Inevitable Betrayal.
That's the blue suspend card, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. End of turn outburst for Vinny.
Here it comes.
More rhinos.
Yep. No counters here. More rhinos on the table. We got a real crash happening because Vinny's casting another one too. Wow, that's 5 rhinos on one side. That's pretty good.
Okay, so now I wouldn't feel that bad cascading into an engineered explosives. just saying.
This might be one of those times that it's okay. All right, Evoking Fury.
We're going to pitch the Fire Ice there.
Uh-oh.
And that is what happens.
Yep. Got rid of one of the rhinos, and we're going to combat here. All right, here's a Violent Outburst in the combat step. Trying to generate some blockers.
I think Vinny's leftovers are another Violent Outburst. So I feel like the call about putting an endurance on the sideboard it might be relevant this matchup. We'll see. Yeah, Vinny's going to be left with 10 power on the board though here, and then Andre's going to get another 8. So yeah, we're in the Rhino's attrition here.
You'd love to see so
but,
many Rhinos.
Okay, so Andre's Rhinos are getting +1/+0, but they're not attacking, so the trample's not relevant.
Yeah, I wonder if Vinny's Rhinos will reach into their utility belt for their violent outburst. Curious.
I think a dispute left over for Andre.
All right. Some blocks have happened. Vinny's still got 2 untapped Rhinos hanging out by the deck there. Oh, wow. Post-combat?
I wonder why. I mean, it feels like it. I mean, this is a minor nitpick, but it probably would have been correct to do that inside of combat, just because
it would get 1 trample damage per block. Yeah, it could have put Andre to 6 pretty easily, but Vinny's winning the Rhino War still. Yeah, looks like Andre's got a land, a mystical dispute, and
I think there's another island picked up for the turn.
An endurance. Okay, so it looks like Andre was pretty heads up about the endurance.
Oh, is that did Andre have an endurance in hand?
Andre has an endurance in hand. I'm pretty sure far left.
Oh, come on,
show your hand again. Yeah, here we go.
So island. I think it's just another.
No, there it is.
Oh.
Endurance and mystical dispute. Just waiting.
Well, it's going to be kind of a sad endurance.
Yeah, it wasn't. This isn't the Brazen Borrower attacker board, so it doesn't really stack up well here. Let's see what happens.
I feel like it's going to let Andre live, but it's going to be a chump.
Yep, so endurance comes down. Vinny's thinking that's probably fine. Andre's going to refuel the library a little bit here. But a borrower is going to bounce one of the Rhinos.
And I think we had the mystical dispute for that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Clutch, last card in hand. You'll love to see it. Both players hellbent now. We got 4 blocks. So Vinny's going to take Andre to 4 and have 1 Rhino remaining.
2 Rhinos.
Or 2 Rhinos, yeah, because endurance is a 3-4.
So there's any Cascade spell is a good top deck for Andre. Fury's not bad. Oh.
Wow. All right. It's a game. Let's go. Oh, I wonder.
I think they're all going to be on the bottom because.
Oh, no. So if Vinny had Andre at 2, any Fire Ice drawn would be lethal if there are any left in Vinny's deck. That's got to be. That's not great.
And I think Vinny is out of Footfalls as well. So really heads up for having that endurance.
Is that Brazen Borrower still on an adventure, though?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's still in Vinny's pocket here. I think Vinny might be regretting the outburst play. If I don't know, just by facial expression. I think they know it happened, but they were playing confidently.
All right, Borrower is going to get in on instep here.
All right, it looks like, oh, yeah, Vinny drew another Cascade spell, but again, are they out of Rhinos? I think so.
Oh, so it's gonna end up Does Vinny have an answer to a removal spell for this Brazen Borrower? Can Andre draw a removal spell? We're going a little bit slow here, so
No,
no.
looks like Cascade spell and Footfalls was left in Andre's hand, making Vinny the winner of the Rhino Mirror. Wow, what a game. What a match.
That was I liked at the end there. It was we're just playing off the top of the deck, so exciting things could happen. But we still have some time left in the round, so we're gonna check on our backup match
Yep.
and see if they're playing. And if they are, we're gonna get them on camera.